Well, we've got 2 Archdemons down. There are 2 more to go before we can take on the final stage. And that's where our stats are right about now. Intelligence is almost where we need it to be. I want to get it up to 40. That's probably the best we're going to get. That'll be 300 MP, enough for 3 firestorms, or 2 firestorms and a second chance. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we're going to be, especially after this. Meet the Storm King. It is a gigantic flying stingray that shoots stingrays at you. Literally. I mean, in addition to all the smaller storm rulers that it just spawned at the start of the fight, its attack is to fire a concentrated laser of stingrays at you, which is completely ridiculous and also awesome. If I had to pick just one of the Archdemon battles to call an Archdemon battle and declare the rest posers, this would be the one that I would consider a real Archdemon. It's the only one of the 4 that feels like a battle against an honest-to-goodness primeval force of nature. Dragon God, kinda close. But the fact that you fight that battle mostly in cutscenes and pre-placed ballistas, that kind of ruins it for me. It ruins the feeling of taking on a gigantic freaking monster. This, however, no, this has everything that you could possibly want out of a fight labeled an Archdemon fight. And if you don't have any ranged attacks going into it, well, normally you'd be out of luck, but not so here. They've thought of everything at From Software, and this fight is more or less an entire JRPG packed into one stage. So you know how the general thing is, okay, you have to fight, Dude, but you can't hurt Dude because he's protected by whatever demonic power, so you have to go and collect the legendary sword of whatever before you're able to hurt him, and then you get it, and you go and you put a hurting on him. Yeah, that's basically what this fight is. And that is the Stingray Beam. It's incredibly painful. Fortunately, there is a safe spot in the level. It's not up here, I'm just trying to get out of the way. Yep, gotta recharge. Alright. So, step 1 is to get to the safe spot in the level. There is a bombed out building down at the bottom of this hill that we can take refuge in. Now I have magic, that is to say a long-ranged attack, so I don't actually have to go find the legendary sword to hurt this guy. I could just, sit around and fire lasers at him. And I'll probably do that to get him down to about half health. But after that, this particular thing is something that you really have to see. So, we'll be doing it the proper way. First things first, though, gotta get to that building. It is in fact safe here. All of that purple goo is the stingrays from the stingray laser crashing into and exploding on the wall. It's very gross, but definitely fitting of the moniker of a demon. I mean, it just spawns things for the purpose of using them as weapons. It doesn't care if they explode into goo. Also, I'd just like to point out, look how many souls I have already. I've just been killing the random enemies that are spawned by the boss. And I've got how many souls? 33,000? It's honestly pretty ridiculous. I'm gonna get all those levels that I want and more by the time I'm done with it. Alright. So I think that's... Oh, no, treasure first. Treasure, very important. So if you ran out of arrows, but you did have a bow that you could use, there are at least some arrows sitting around here that you can fire at them. Now, if I were making this game, I would probably put exactly enough arrows so that a person with average stats would have exactly enough shots to kill the boss, but I've never actually fought this thing with a bow and arrow, so I'm not entirely certain. In fact, I've never really fought it with magic either. It seems incredibly weak to it. But that could just be the overwhelming strength of the hat. So, here we are in this massive graveyard type area. At the end of it, there is a sword in a stone. Not the sword in the stone, just another sword in another stone. We've already had at least one in this game. And you might wonder, well, how exactly does the sword help you to fight something that's gargantuan and flying up in the air like that? And the answer is, you'll see. Tricky thing is, though, you don't want to, run into, or rather target this thing unexpectedly. There are also a couple crystal lizards over here that I'm trying to sneak up on, and every time I try to target them, it goes over to the Storm King. Well, I got one. I still need a pure Dark Moonstone to finish off upgrading the Crescent Falchion. But if I save and reload enough, I'm probably gonna get it. There we go. There's our sword. Excellent, we've got the Storm Ruler. Now the interesting thing about the Storm Ruler is that your stats don't really matter when you wield it. Here it is. Doesn't scale with anything, doesn't have any stat requirements, and its description tells you that I can rend the sky. What does rending the sky look like? Well, I'm glad you asked, but the Storm King probably not. Swinging the sword takes your entire stamina bar. And the result is you basically cut the air. And that cut travels all the way up into the sky. It doesn't have infinite range, although I personally think it should. But it's got enough. And it does pack a pretty mean wallop. Now, unfortunately, the sword only works that way in this one area. It's a lot like the giant mask and the fierce deity mask from Majora's Mask that you could only use in boss rooms. But it still kicks ass. Actually, I guess you could use fierce deity. I think you can use it in dungeons. Could be wrong about that. Haven't played Majora's Mask in a while. I definitely know that the Giant's Mask could only be used in one particular boss room. The one that you had to become giant to fight the giant worm things. And the Storm Ruler is a lot like that. Damn, was it cool. And that'll do it. And Well, as you can see, we have a lot more souls now. I think that's going to be enough to get the rest of the levels that I'm looking for. And with that done, there's only one Archdemon left. And we've actually seen it already, back when it was us. And we will take on the new Old Monk next time.